the video, just an introduction of the whole. Okay, coming back, there are some people. Okay, coming back to the objectives again. Why isn't it? Okay, so these were the objectives that we just were studying. So describe characteristics of analytical study design, explain major steps in carrying out the designs, advantages and disadvantages, and comparison of the study designs, which are good, why are they good, and in the end, some clinical interpretation so that we know practically how these designs are being measured and what are their significances. So first of all, the classification of study design. So we've done this with you guys before, just a revamp, because if you don't know the classification of a study design, you cannot go ahead with what a study design is actually. So there are some study designs which generate a hypothesis. Can anyone tell me what that study design is called? What type of study designs are those? Is anyone talking? I cannot hear properly. Um, okay, I'm going along with it because I cannot hear you guys properly. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, they can hear you, Dr. Mashal.
Yes, ma'am.
Acha, okay, so can anyone tell me what this hypothesis generation is called? You don't have a lot of time. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. Hypothesis, there are some studies which generate hypotheses and some studies which test a hypothesis. And then there are further study design. So I'm going to go ahead. So let's see what these studies are. Observational studies which generate hypotheses, experimental studies which test those hypotheses which are being generated previously. Within observational studies, there are further two subtypes, descriptive study designs and analytical study designs. We've already done the descriptive study designs. Today, we're going to talk about the analytical study designs. Then in experimental studies, we have randomized control trials, we have field trials and community trials. Coming back to the topic of our discussion, that is analytical study design, as we've just seen in the video also, that analytical study designs, they have further classifications. The general classification is four types: ecological, cross-sectional, case control, and cohort. So when observational designs are preferred over experimental designs, can anyone tell me? Would anyone would like to answer that or add to it? Okay, going along. Um, so observational designs are preferred over experimental designs when exposure or factors there obnoxious. That means it's harmful. हम कोई चीज जो है वो उसके अंदर इंटरवीन नहीं करवा सकते बिकॉज वो एथिकली सही नहीं है. जैसे malnutrition leading to TB, you will not lead someone to malnutrition so that you can see कि TB develop हो रही है उनमें या नहीं, या लोगों को बाकायदा आप शीशा पीने नहीं देंगे because you know that it has other adverse effects even if they're not developing COPD. Then coming to the first type of design, ecological study design. So ecological studies, they are studies in which the unit of observation is a group, not separate individuals. We study groups, we study ethnicity, we study some specific characteristic in a specific group. For example, exposure and risk factors at the group level, such as average air pollution concentration in different cities, but not specifically for a person. The occurrence of health outcome may also be only known at the group level, such as overall mortality rates from chronic lung disease in the same cities with measured levels of air pollution. Ecological studies may be used to generate hypotheses of an association between exposure and a health outcome. We can generate hypotheses through ecological studies, but causation or temporality cannot be confirmed through it. So this is because, for example, we do not know whether those individuals who died in a particular city under observation had a higher exposure than the individuals who remained alive, because we're seeing a specific geographic area or a specific characteristic or a specific outcome. So there are three types of ecological study designs. We either take a group on the basis of a place or on the basis of a time or a combination of place and time. The study designs, the group of an ecological study may be identified by place time combination and methods of exposure measurement, and ecological study design is also called exploratory design, because if the primary exposure of potential interest is not measured, that is, if we're just seeing a characteristic, an ethnicity or a myth or a religion, religious effect, but analytical types of ecological study designs are those if the primary exposure variable is measured. That means a standardized measure is being used, which can be measured from a standard point of view. It has a calculation and it can be done all over the world in the text. So in practice, this dimension is a continuum since most ecological studies are not concluded to test a single hypothesis. So as every study, this study also have some drawbacks, some negative points. So ecological fallacy is one of that fact. When dealing with group level information, it is important to be aware of what's called an ecological fallacy. Ecological fallacy results from concluding that because an association exists between exposure and a health outcome at the group level and it therefore exists at the individual level. Okay, everyone getting me?
Yes, Dr. Musla, kindly वो option disable कर दीजिए please.
जी मैं वही कर रही हूँ. बोर हो रहे हैं बच्चे. Okay, coming back to the main point. This is an ecological fallacy कि आपने एक ग्रुप के ऊपर एक स्टडी करी और आपने कहा ये सब के ऊपर इफेक्ट हो रहा है. ऐसा नहीं होता. Everyone does not have the same risk, the same outcome. Suppose, example, an pollution is higher in Baltimore than in Tampa. There are two cities, but mortality from lung disease is lower in Baltimore than in Tampa. ठीक है, एयर पोल्यूशन के बावजूद भी लंग डिजीजेस कम है. सो यहाँ पे एक इकोलॉजिकल फैल्सी आ जाती है, बिकॉज हो सकता है कि एयर पोल्यूशन ना हो, लंग कैंसर या लंग डिजीज की कोई और वजह भी हो सकती है. आपके अपने जेनेटिक्स भी हो सकते हैं, आपकी अपनी फैमिली डिस्पोजिशन भी हो सकती है, आपकी अपनी रूटीन लाइफ भी हो सकती है, एंड यू नो द स्टोरी गोज ऑन. Coming to the second study design, cross-section study design. So it's also called a prevalence study, and as we can see that a survey is conducted on a sample of population. It's easy to carry out, it's cost effective, it's time effective, it gives prevalence of the disease. That's why it is also known as a survey or a prevalence. The disadvantage is that temporality cannot be done through cross-section study. हम cause and effect का association एक describe कर सकते हैं, लेकिन उसको confirm नहीं कर सकते. Only prevalent cases identified, not appropriate for rare and acute diseases. So it's an observation study design that survey exposes and disease status at a single point in time across section of the population. So you can see this is this study population, and it is a snapshot. It is specifically at a specific time. So first we take a study population in analytical cross-section, because there are descriptive cross-sectional studies also. So analytical study, we take a sample population, we divide it into those who have a disease, who do not have a disease, and then we see whether there are risk factors present in those in both the groups. And this is again something specifically studied at the point in time. This is the difference between case control and cross-sectional study. So it's often used to study conditions that are relatively frequent with long duration of expression, non-fatal chronic conditions. It measures prevalence, not incidence. That's also one of the fallacies it has. And example community surveys, they're very good examples. Not suitable for studying rare or highly fatal diseases or a disease with short duration of expression. Advantages, it's the weakest observational design because it measures prevalence, not incidence. Prevalent cases are survivors. एक specific time में जब आप किसी को study करते हैं तो उसके अंदर यही problem आती है. Sorry. Mortality देखी जा सकती है इसके अंदर. Usually don't know when disease occurred because you're just taking one snapshot. You're not seeing when this person developed, you're just asking them questions regarding why they had it. There are some loopholes here. Rare events, problem, quickly emerging disease, a problem. So case control is the third type. And this is where the disease is seen, the disease people are seeing whether they have the risk factors or not, just like in the cross-section analytical type. So a case control study is where the population sample, it's a retrospective study. As you can see the arrows, they're going back in time. And you're asking, we have divided the sample into two groups, those who have the disease, those who do not have the disease. And then we're asking both the groups whether they were exposed to some specific risk factor that we're expecting. And then, you know, the study is concluded. So it starts with cases and inquires about the exposure. What happened? How did it start? So there are some steps. You select cases from a source, or a clinic patient should be selected from multiple sites. Incident cases preferred over prevalent cases, because as we know that if you're just taking prevalent cases, they just may be survivors. Incident cases में हमारे पास पॉसिबिलिटी कि हमें रिस्क फैक्टर्स बहुत अच्छे आइडेंटिफाई हो सकते हैं. Selection of controls, again the same sources from where you're taking the cases, you take the controls. Family members without the disease, those family members जिनके आपने cases लिए उन्हीं के family members भी आप ले सकते हैं. Without disease, friends, neighbors more likely to present cases in terms of social and environmental factors. Hospital controls, अगर आप hospital से ले रहे हैं तो वहीं जिस source से आपने cases लिए हैं उसी source से आपको controls लेने हैं. So controls should be matched with cases on certain characteristics, especially outcomes or risk factors में कुछ ना कुछ इनमें similarity होनी चाहिए. Then you measure the exposure and then you analyze and interpret. These are the study steps. So how do you match in case control study? Process of selecting the controls so they are similar to cases in certain characteristics such as age, race, sex, socio-economic status, and occupation is known as matching in case control study. You can individually match, you can group match. For individual, for each case selected of the study, control is selected. Group में a proportion of controls with certain characteristics identical to proportion of cases. जैसे मैंने cancer patients लिए हैं तो मैं control में भी cancer patients ही लूंगी. Specifically कोई ऐसी चीज होगी उसी जगह से या उनके family member से जो कि उनमें similar होगी जिसके behalf पे मैं risk factors को rule out कर सकती हूँ, confounders को rule out कर सकती हूँ. All the cases are selected first and a certain proportion with a characteristic in cases is matched with controls. That is, 25% of cases are married, 25% of controls selected are also married. And then we see what the uh, things have been done. So the problem here is practical problems. Difficult to find out too many characteristics need to be matched. And conceptual problem kya hai? Match characteristics in cases and controls cannot be studied. Okay. So case control study, that is ratio of cases and controls. So ratio is a mathematical, um, it's mathematical a conclusion where we do a standardized mathematics, and here we do not use a unit because we're comparing two different aspects. So generally case control ratio of 1 by 1 is enough. However, sorry, multiple controls are sometimes taken to increase the sample size and power of study. Use different types of controls. Hospital neighbor controls cases are not increased because there are not enough cases available. Case control study advantages: easier to carry out, rapid, inexpensive, suitable to investigate rare disease. Disadvantage क्या है? Again, जब हम किसी से हिस्ट्री पूछ रहे हैं किसी की, जी आपको कैसे हुआ था, तो हो सकता है कि उनका रिकॉल बायस आ जाए, उनको नहीं याद हो, और वो just to be in the study or just to give an answer that is valid, वो गलत जवाब दें आपको. Temporality cannot be established. Cause does not precede outcome. So this is a very important slide regarding the odds ratio. That is the measure of association in a case control study. So odds are the chances of occurrence of an event, and in a group of 20, 14 and smoker of hypertensive, being smokers will be 14. We're comparing those who have the risk and those who do not. I would like all of you to just look at this slide. I'm giving you 2 minutes. You can copy this specifically this 2 by 2 table and the odds ratio, the calculation of odds ratio between two diseases. That is odds of exposure in diseased, odds of exposure in non-diseased. So what we do in a 2 by 2 table, I want you all to please listen to this. This is important. We always take risk factors in the rows. Rows are taken as risk factor, whether it is present or not present. Are you exposed or not exposed? And the diseases are always taken, that is, the outcome is always taken in the column. So exposure rows, outcome columns. Always remember, this is a standardized rule for a 2 by 2 table. When either you're doing a case control or a cohort, doesn't matter, the measure of association are different, but the 2 by 2 table is formed in the same way. So I want you all to look at it very clearly. I'm giving you 2 minutes. Please copy this specifically because we're going to do an activity. So I want you all to please copy this specifically.
डॉक्टर मुर्सला आपके पास एक ऑप्शन आ रहा होगा जी ओके आप बिल्कुल कर रही हैं इरेज ठीक है
जी यही कर रही थी मैं, कहा कि अभी बीच में एक गैप आए तो फिर मैं करूँ.
बिल्कुल ठीक है.
All right. So let's see at this. Now, the odds ratio interpretation. Let's see this. As we've just seen in the video also, when you have an odds ratio of 1, that means there is no association between the outcome and the exposure. But when there's an odds ratio that is less than 1, that means it has a positive association. Sorry, more than 1. It has a positive association. That means the risk was leading towards the outcome, or the outcome was developed because of the risk. The last is the odds ratio that is less than 1. That is protective effect. That means the risk factor was actually protecting a person from developing an outcome. Let's suppose if you have an exposure of exercise, then you are actually protecting yourself from different chronic disease like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, depression, and the story goes on. So it depends on the association you interpret on that basis. Okay? This is a standardized interpretation. Now, this is a study. I'm giving you 2 minutes again, and I want all of you to do this. 2 minutes for everyone. And this is important. If you understand this, you can do it. Please read the exercise and try to construct. I'm not expecting you guys to do it, but I'm trying to make you guys understand that's not that difficult. You just have to use your common sense. We all have a ample amount of common sense. Use it. Okay, so everyone done? So, as we all know, it's a case control study. This was the 2 by 2 table that we needed to make. Okay, and the odds ratio was 2.78. So interpretation, persons who smoke are more than 2 times more likely to develop disease than the persons without smoking, without the risk factor. Now coming to the last study design, that is cohort study design. As you can see, it's just the opposite of case control. In case control, we were first taking those who were diseased and then seeing whether they have the risk factor or not. While in cohort, we're seeing the risk factors. We're seeing the risk factors, and we're seeing these risk develop the disease or not. Okay. So again, like we saw in case control, certain steps of conducting a cohort study. Selection of exposed, non-exposed. We're starting from a specific sample, and we're taking those who do not have the disease, but they do have the exposures or the risk factors. You decide on the follow-up time. How much time will we follow them? You measure the outcome. You measure the outcome by the measure of association, and also specifically if the outcome can be measured. You analyze and interpret afterwards. So cohort studies have different advantages and disadvantages. You establish temporality, that's a good thing. That means association, cause and effect association confirmed in this study. Studies several possible outcomes. Provides incidence, because incidence is all the new cases. Good for rare obnoxious exposures, because we have the exposure in our hand and we can take specific exposure. We can take specific exposures, rare exposures in our hand. Minimum bias hota hai, lekin again it also has a bias, that means follow-up bias. Lengthy, therefore loss to follow-up. Sometimes isko hum attrition bhi bolte hain, or sometimes it happens कि those studies people may withdraw without giving notice, people may die, or people may migrate. So loss to follow up हो जाता है, हम contacts miss कर जाते हैं, people are lost, some calamity happens, and you get lost. All right, it is resource consuming and not appropriate to study rare outcomes. Change in behavior of exposed group. So as you can see, it starts with groups which are exposed and non-exposed. Prospectively inquires about outcome and disease. However, cohort study can be retrospective as well. Now, this is very important. We all get confused in a retrospective cohort. So I want you all to be very clear about this slide. I want you all to please listen to this. First of all, cohort study designs, they have a study population, and those study population in which whether factor is present or absent, and then we go forward uh, and follow those people whether they developed a disease or not in both the groups. Now, this is a generalized cohort study design, how we do it. Now, let's see the types of cohort studies: prospective, retrospective. So this is a prospective study design, this one. You have an exposure group and a non-exposure group, and then you follow them and see whether disease occurred in both the groups, those who had the exposure, those who did not have the exposure. And there is specific time lag that you set yourself. And the study is starting here. Can you see yourself? The researchers here, and the researcher is taking all these people who are exposed and non-exposed and following them until they develop or do not develop whatever the disease up to a specific time. While in retrospective cohort, look where the researcher is standing here, but the exposure is here and the disease has already occurred. So how can this be a cohort? It looks more of a case control study. So what happens here is that we do not take persons, as in we do not ask people, we take their medical records or some documented records. So case control versus cohort study. Case control starts with outcome easier to carry out, rapid and inexpensive, suitable to investigate rare diseases, because we can see different outcomes, we can control the outcomes, no loss to follow-up. Okay, we're talking about case control, we're wrapping it up. Recall bias, we cannot make people recall exactly what happened, it's difficult. That is why cause and effect ratio is not very good here. Measures of risk of are odds ratio. While in cohort, let's start with exposure. Case control is easier to carry out. This is difficult to carry out. Rapid and expensive case control, time taking and inexpensive cohort. Suitable to investigate rare diseases, we can see that in case control, but in cohort where it's suitable for rare exposure, because again the exposure is in our hand. We start with exposures. And here in case control there was loss to, sorry, there's a typing error. This is recall bias in case control, while in cohort we had loss to follow up. And इसके अंदर cohort में हमारे पास कोई recall bias नहीं आता, जबकि case control में recall bias is problematic. That is why कोहोर्ट में हम टेम्पोरलिटी एस्टैब्लिश कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि यहाँ पे रिकॉल करनी हम फ्रॉम द स्टार्ट फॉलो कर रहे हैं, फ्रॉम द स्क्रैच जीरो से स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं. द measures of risk are relative risk here in cohort, while there in case control it was odds ratio. So which measure of association for which type of study? In cohort हमारे पास relative risk आ जाता है, factor exposure to outcome disease. So in relative risk, we know the risk incidence. We can calculate the relative risk, whether risk is relative to the outcome. Incidence in exposed divided by incidence is non-exposed. So what is risk? It's the disease, it's the probability of a disease in a population to happen. While relative risk is the comparison of those people who developed the disease because of the exposure and those who did not. So incidence of disease in exposed divided by incidence of disease in exposure. And here again, you can see this 2 by 2 table. Very, very important. If you know how to make a 2 by 2 table, you will never have any problems. This is very important. Risk factor in the rows and disease or outcomes in the columns. We denote them by alphabetical order A, B, C, D. These are the 4 aspects that we take. A is those who have the risk factor and they also develop the disease. B are those who have the risk factor but they do not develop the disease. And then we see the total exposed, totally exposed हुए थे, whether they had the disease or not, irrespective to that. Then risk factors when they're absent but their disease develop is C. And risk factors present absent but the disease uh, does not develop also, so that is D. And then we see C plus D, total exposed. Here A plus C, those who were positive whether they had the risk factor or not, is total disease. यहाँ पे A plus C आता था और नॉन डिजीज में B plus C. तो जब हम इंसिडेंस का क्या फॉर्मूला होता है, टोटल नंबर ऑफ न्यू केसेस डिवाइडेड बाय population at risk. So यहाँ पे A is the people who had the disease divided by total population at risk. इसी तरह यहाँ पे those who had the disease, total population not at risk but मतलब unexposed है और वही वाली इसकी no risk factor वाला aspect आ जाता है. So इसमें भी इंटरप्रिटेशन उसी तरह ही है. पॉजिटिव होगा कॉजल रिलेशनशिप, मोर देन वन, लेस देन वन में प्रोटेक्टिव इफेक्ट होगा, एक्सपोजर प्रोटेक्टिंग द डिजीज rather than causing it. Exercise. Now this is important. A study was conducted in which 260 obese and 340 people with normal weight were followed for 5 years. 120 developed diabetes in obese while 80 developed the disease in normal weight people. So you identify the study design, you construct a 2 by 2 table, and you calculate measure of association and interpretation. This is important because you don't have to actually, you won't be in BCQs or EMQs, you just have to know the study design. You don't have to construct, but you need to know the measure of association for a specific study design and the interpretation regarding that measure of association. So as we can see here, the study was cohort, and this was the 2 by 2 table that you will be making. Just to give you an idea, I'm just giving you an idea. A study was conducted in which 260 obese and 340 normal people, normal weight people were followed for 5 years. So हमारे पास risk factor क्या है? Obesity and normality of weight. So obesity हमारे पास कितनी है? टोटल 260 और कितने लोग टोटल नॉर्मल थे? 340. तो हमने यहाँ पे लिख दिया टोटल में. उसके बाद हमारे पास आया हुआ है 120 डेवलप्ड डायबिटीज इन ओबीज. अब डायबिटीज हो रही है 120 को, वो जिनको ओबेसिटी थी, तो हमारे पास 120 केसेस आ गए. ठीक है, ये केसेस और कंट्रोल से प्लीज डू नॉट गेट कंफ्यूज्ड. ये हम कोहोर्ट की बात कर रहे हैं, केस कंट्रोल की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. 2 by 2 टेबल दोनों का एक जैसा बनता है. मेजर ऑफ एसोसिएशंस हमारी अलग हो जाते हैं, सही है, लेकिन वी नीड टू नो हाउ टू पुट दीज नंबर्स, बिकॉज ये गलत लिख दिया आपने तो आपकी फिर कैलकुलेशन भी गलत होगी. So 120 develop diabetes while 80 develop the disease in normal weight. So diabetes देखी जानी है diseases में, और जो लोग जिनको कोई disease नहीं है. So 120 यहाँ लिख दिया, 80 यहाँ लिख दिया. हमने 120 को 260 से माइनस किया 140, 80 को 340 से माइनस किया 260 आ गया. And then we have the total who had the outcome, total who did not have the outcome. And then after that we have the relative risk. That means incidence of exposed, incidence of non-exposed. सो इंसिडेंस ऑफ एक्सपोज में इंसिडेंस 120 था उनमें जिनमें एक्सपोजर था, 80 इंसिडेंस उनमें था जिनमें एक्सपोजर नहीं था। इन दोनों का हमने रेशियो निकाला और हमें 2.09 इंटरप्रिटेशन मिली। दैट मींस obese are more than 2 times more likely to develop diabetes as compared to non-obese. This is very very important. ये interpretation बेटा आप लोगों को आनी चाहिए. We can give you this whole scenario, this type of scenario in your auspice. So you need to have a very clear idea कि ये बोला क्या जा रहा है इसको 2x2 टेबल, बिकॉज ये 2x2 टेबल बनाना कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है, 2 मिनट में बन जाता है. 2 मिनट क्या 1 मिनट भी नहीं लगता है. But you need to know these things. So everyone clear about this whole study design? Everyone clear? Is everyone clear about it? Ariba Abdullah.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, हाँ बेटा.
जी मैम, माय क्वेश्चन वाज कि आपने जो पीछे केस कंट्रोल में वो बनाया था 2x2 टेबल, आप उस पे
Yeah.
प्लीज दोबारा ले जाएंगी, मुझे उसमें से सवाल पूछना है आपसे.
अच्छा. Wait.
जो सिनेरियो आपने हमें सॉल्व करने दिया था.
ठीक है. This one?
एक सेकंड जी, इसमें आप 2x2 का टेबल दिखाएंगी जो आपने बनाया था, उस वो मुझे समझ नहीं आया.
अच्छा. पहले okay. Let's talk about this also. First of all, a study was conducted in 260 cases of ischemic heart disease. ठीक है, हमारे पास केस कंट्रोल है. हम स्टार्ट किससे करें? We're starting from diseases and non-disease. Right. So ischemic heart disease is those cases and 340 people who did not have the disease, the controls. सही. तो हमारे पास टोटल में आ जाएंगे ये दोनों, टोटल रो कॉलम्स में. ठीक है
जी.
अच्छा. they were asked about their prior exposure, यानी अब हम एक्सपोजर की बात कर रहे हैं, रोज की बात कर रहे हैं. Identify the effect of smoking on the disease. 120 smoked among patients of ischemic heart disease. Smoking exposure total आ रहा है 120, while 80 smoked in those who did not have the exposure. Now let's see this study design. Okay, इसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम आ रही है आपको?
ये जो 260 आया है 80 के नीचे वाला, वो कहाँ से आया?
अच्छा, इसके अंदर क्या है कि हमने फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल देखो, ये हमारी रोज है, ये हमारे एक्सपोजर है, ये हमारे आउटकम्स हैं, वेदर यू हैड द डिजीज और नॉट. हम यहाँ से स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं. सो 260 हैड द डिजीज, 340 डिड नॉट हैव द डिजीज. यहाँ तक मेरे साथ हैं?
सही जी.
ओके. अब आप ये पूछ रही है 260 कहाँ से आ गया?
अच्छा, ये आपने 80 प्लस 260 करके 340.
हमने 340 में से 80 माइनस किया तो हमें 260 मिला.
So these are all the people who do not have the disease.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, now I got it.
सिर्फ एक्सपोजर दिखा रहे हैं ना, क्योंकि हमें एक्सपोजर दिखाने, दोनों में हमें 120 were exposed in those who had the disease, 80 were exposed who did not have the disease.
ठीक है, I got it. Thank you, ma'am.
ठीक है, तो हमने 340 में से 80 अभी किया, 340 में से 80 हमने किया है, ठीक है, और ये हमारे पास
जी मैम।
odds रेशियो आ गया, सही है।
ओके जी मैम, थैंक यू।
AD over BC हम कर लेते हैं इसके अंदर। Any other questions? Anyone would like to ask a question? Okay.